Good morning, students. In today's class, we are going to see the second and third part of design of experiments, principles and methodologies for process optimization. So, we have seen the principles of design of experiments in the last lecture. In continuation to that, we are going to see the methodologies of design of experiments as well as some suitable examples in chemical engineering point of view. Design of experiments is a systematic approach to design, conducting, and analyzing the control test to understand the relationship between the process variables and the output responses. So, in the last class, we have elaborately have seen the differences between the dependent variable and independent variable. For example, in a reactor, you have a temperature, pressure, concentration of reactant. You could able to vary as independent variable, and the yield, the reaction output, or the yield of the yield or the efficiency of the reactor is a function of temperature, pressure, as well as the concentration of the reactant. So the independent variable is temperature, pressure, and the dependent variable is the yield. So in order to conduct this design of experiments, okay, the purpose is to analyze the variables and their effects and to optimize the process. So DOE methodologies help in process optimization by identifying the optimal operating conditions. So identifying the optimal operating condition can be achieved. What is the effect of variable on the dependent variable? So it may be a multivariate analysis that we have seen actually. That means multiple factors. So what would be their effect? So design of experiment is helpful for process optimization by identifying the optimal operating conditions. So what are the key design of experiment methodologies? Factorial design, response surface methodology, Taguchi method, central composite design, box-Benken design. These are the key design of experiments. When it comes to the factorial design, examine the effect of multiple factors and their interactions. So the multiple factors, let's say the temperature, pressure, concentration of the reactant or multiple factors, and because of that, what would be the effect of interactive between these independent variables and how it affects the yield, that is a dependent variable. So example factorial design is optimizing the reaction yield by varying the temperature, pressure and catalytic concentration in a chemical reactor. So I have given an example with the reactant concentration. Here they have mentioned the catalytic concentration. So for this case, we need to go for a factorial design. So when we need to go for response surface methodology. So these are all design of experiments methodologies to optimize the process. Okay. So a statistical approach, the RSM is a statistical approach to model and optimize complex processes using polynomial equation. The very good example is improving the biodiesel production by optimizing the methanol to oil ratio, reaction yield and concentration. So to optimize the complex processes using polynomial equation, in that case response surface methodology is the best method. Now coming to the Taguchi method, use orthogonal arrays. So we should know what do you mean by orthogonal arrays. The orthogonal arrays are statistical tool used in Taguchi method and other DOE methodologies to efficiently study the multiple factors with a reduced number of experiments. So we need to write the design of experiments, so the number of experiments in the design, so that accordingly we can do that experiment, we can get the relationship, we can get a changing the dependent variable, we can get the output, that is a independent, by changing the independent variable, then we will get a dependent variable. So orthogonal arrays will help you in to efficiently study the multiple factors with a reduced number of experiments. They help in systematically designing the experiments with each factor is varied at different levels in a balanced manner to study their individual and combined effect. So coming to the Taguchi method, it uses the orthogonal arrays to reduce the number of experiments. So underline the word to reduce the number of experiments. while maintaining reliability. So, minimizing the defect in polymer extrusion by optimizing the die temperature, the screw speed and feed rate. So, the example for Taguchi method is minimizing the defect in polymer extrusion by optimizing the die temperature, screw up and feed rate. So, this Taguchi method will try to reduce the number of experiments as well. And section of orthogonal array, how it looks like. So here they have given the ln m power k orthogonal array notation. Ln is the number of experimental runs. Okay, m is the number of levels per factor. K is the number of factors. Let's say the number of experiments. Okay, 3 power 3. That is the orthogonal array notation. Number of experiments run is 9. Okay, so 9 experiments, 3 levels for each factor, 3 factors being tested. So the number of factors is 3 factors, number of levels per factor is 3. So the m and k goes for 3. That's why they say 3 power 3 n ln. So the n is the number of experiment, L suffix n here. So in this way, so what is the 3 level for each factor? 3 factors being tested. So you can go for 3 factors varying the 3 factors. For example, pressure, temperature and concentration of the catalyst. Okay, 3 level for each factor. Number of levels per factor. Hope you understood. Okay, coming to the central composite design, a type. This is also a type of RSM. Okay, another type of RSM that helps build second order models for optimization. Example, enhancing the wastewater treatment efficiency by optimizing pH, aeration rate and chemical dosage. You know already wastewater treatment starting with the screen chamber, grid chamber, aeration tank and so on and so forth until we make the water as per the even up to the potable standard, that is a drinking standard. So enhancing the wastewater treatment efficiency in a aeration tank. So what we need to do, we can vary the pH, we can vary the aeration rate, that means how much amount of oxygen which we are bubbling through in spraying, okay, underneath the water, I mean from the bottom, or you have a surface aerators. Okay, so the aeration rate how much and what is the chemical dosage that you have kept. Okay, so a type of RSM that helps build second order model for optimization. So what is second order model? The second order model usually used in response surface methodology when the relationship between the process variable and response. So what is process variable? The process variable is a dependent variable or independent variable? Is a independent variable. Okay, the process variable is a independent variable where the response is a dependent variable. Okay, because the response depends on what? The process variable. Hope you understood. So don't get confused on that. Okay, when the relationship between the process variable and the response is non-linear, it is a non-linear. So there is no linear relationship. It includes, it may be a quadratic equation. Okay, so even the power 2 or even power 3 and a polynomial. Okay, so logarithmic. Okay, that means a non-linear. Okay, any type of thing coming under non-linear. Okay, so this includes quadratic terms to capture the curvature effect. So in that case, if the relationship between the dependent and independent, that is a process variable and response is non-linear, and if it is a second order, then go for a central composite design. Okay, so box-Behnken design. So box-Behnken design is another RSM with fewer experiments than central composite design. When you go for a central composite design, the number of experiments may be higher, but box-Behnken method will try to reduce the number of experiments. Example here is maximizing the ethanol yield in fermentation by optimizing the sugar concentration, temperature and agitation speed. So I will cover this the second part. I mean, another within another two classes. Okay, after another class, I'm going to cover what I did during my PhD, which I already told you. So I've used a design of experiment to optimize the point. Okay, so for my yield, to get the particular yield, that is spray drying yield. I will cover that part later. Okay, so hope you understood what are the key design of experiment methodologies. Okay, coming to the chemical engineering application where we are going to use this reaction optimization. A pharmaceutical company optimizing a esterification reaction to maximize the yield. Esterification is a chemical reaction in which carboxylic acid and alcohol in the presence of acid catalyst to form an ester. Esterification is a formation of ester, COO group, okay, and water. A pharmaceutical company optimizing the esterification reaction to maximize the yield. So, design of experiment application, factorial design, varying the reactant ratio, temperature and catalyst concentration to find the optimal condition. So here the factorial design has been used. So coming to the process control in distillation, optimizing the distillation column efficiency. What are the, how to make sure that a column is efficient? We need to adjust the reflux ratio, feed rate and the pressure inside the distillation column, okay, for maximizing the separation efficiency. These are the highly correlated parameters in terms of the efficiency of the distillation column. So in that case we are going for the RSM. Okay, coming to the polymer synthesis, Taguchi method. So the Taguchi method, the number of experiments will be lower. That's what we have seen, right? So developing high performance polymers with the desired properties, Taguchi method applied to optimize the monomer ratios, curing temperature, and initiate the concentration. And coming to the environmental engineering perspective, central CCD is a central composite design has been used to add to study the impact of adsorbent dosage, pH and contact time on removal efficiency. So this is a improving the case for the improving for the absorption of heavy metals on the wastewater treatment. So absorption is a surface phenomena, you know already. So when you vary the absorption dosage, obviously the more amount of solute will be get absorbed on the surface of the adsorbent, that you know already. In that case, so they go for a central composite design. Okay. So the number of experiments is higher when compared to the it will be lower when compared to the box bunker. That's what we have seen, right? Fewer experiments than CCD. Box bunker will be lower when compared to the central composite design. That's what we have seen. Okay. So hope you understood up to here. So I just stop it here because I don't want to prolong the time. I mean 20 minutes or something. Okay. So because we will cut this part up to here and we will continue in the next lecture shortly, immediately, because the span of time they have recommended is only 20 minutes. So I am not sure whether I have reached 20 minutes or not. But so what I am trying to say is that we will this slide is a part of part 2 and as well as part 3 of design of experiments. Okay. So I just cover up to here. Then we will continue in the next lecture, next video, continuation of this lecture. Okay. So what are the benefits of design of experiments in process optimization? That is a very, very important question. Reduces the experimental effort and cost. So when you try to reduce the experiment, obviously what? The number of experiments that we need to carry out to find the optimized point will be comes down. So obviously the cost will come down because the number of experiments, how much time you are, what do you call it, how much effort you are putting, how much money you are spending, obviously the time frame, everything comes into picture, right? So when the number of experiments is lower, at the same less number of experiments, if you could able to identify the exact optimized point is good enough, right? So reduces the experimental effort and cost. That is one point. Identify the key process variables and their interactions. So identify the key process variables. What are the key process variables? That means varying, okay, temperature, pressure, concentration, and their interaction. So when the pressure increases, what will happen to the my catalyst concentration? Is it varying or is it same? Okay. So or the temperature will varying or not same. Okay. So how it affects the other parameters? How is the interaction between the variables? So that can be studied by means of the statistical tool. Okay. So that is a very important point in identifying the key process variables and their interaction. So whether it's a significant, the variable what we are choosing is significant for that condition or not. Okay. So that is very important. That can be statistically can be found. And the third point is improve the process efficiency and product quality. Obviously the response is supposed to be higher. Okay. So for our case in terms of yield or efficiency is supposed to be higher and improve the process efficiency. So when you are conducting the experiment and try to find the optimized point, okay, so that we can fix the what do you call it, which variable, independent variable, and then that particular independent variable we will get a dependent variable will be higher. Okay, so improve the process efficiency and product quality, minimize the variability and enhance the robustness. So these are the benefits of DOE. I stop it here. We will shortly continue this lecture shortly with the other video. Thank you for your time. Please be tuned for the next video.